this is where I have the top so far. I think you can probably see that. Not too bad. And actually the bottom looks a whole lot better right now. Probably needs to be a little bit tighter, so I'll show you how bad it looked when I got started. I'll show you the good side first. I think I probably, started here, and that was the top, and you can see how bad that is. And try to zigzag just to test it out, but I mean, it's just hideous there, and it wasn't getting much better. I made a slight adjustment. You can see it was getting a little bit better, but here was the bad part. That's the bottom. I think that's probably I don't even know how that's possible, but that's what the bottom looked like until I made the adjustment on that square thing that I mentioned. So then after I made that adjustment, this is actually the top. I switched the fabric over. That's the top. Still looks good. And the bottom was getting a little bit better. So I went back to the bobbin and loosened that up. And I think right now I have this set about 2.5, almost 3. So this is the 2.5, almost 3. Looks a little loose on the bottom, so if you don't know which way to go, which I really don't, what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and decrease it, maybe 1/2 or 1 or so. Give it another shot here. I sew a good long way to make sure everything kind of meshes together. So there's the top, still not too bad. And actually, I probably won't, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but the top seems to be pulling through a little on the bottom, but it's actually, I don't know, still not too bad. They're both still pretty tight, so making that adjustment definitely made a world of difference. But you definitely have to have everything clean, especially around this bobbin casing, and then go back. I clean it out with alcohol and Q-tip. Make sure I don't get any of the cotton from the Q-tip down in there either. But after I clean that all out, then I go ahead and put a little oil. What's going to really happen, I find a lot, is that if somebody doesn't maintain the machine very well, that oil tends to dry out and create almost like a varnish, or maybe almost a gooey varnish, and that is just going to be the worst thing ever. So take the alcohol and I go ahead and clean that off of there, and then I go ahead and put a little bit more sewing machine oil on there and just barely get it in there. But you definitely have to have it clean even before you start to try to adjust the machine. So, and actually I'll go ahead and show you at least how I have this set. I mentioned this. I'm hoping you can kind of see all this, but this is real loose here. I mean, real loose. It's pretty loose. I could just barely shake it and it's gonna fall down. So, and that's pretty much where I start. And I also make sure I think you can go either way with this, but the way that I like to wind it is if I'm holding it like this, especially on the Pfaff, what I do is I put it in like this. So right now this is over the top here, and I put it in this way. So when I pull it, just like I had it, it tends to fall right in there. And I always, if I set it, I'm always going to put the bobbin in the same way. If you go the other way, then the thread's going to want to go through the hook and back out. This way it kind of spools right out, and I like it that way a little bit better because it tends to have less resistance that way. See, I think it's easier to set. So that's basically, and I need to make a few more adjustments with this automatic piece, but I got it pretty well set up to where, and now at least it will catch this bottom piece pretty good. So it wasn't catching it beforehand. I'd have to slightly adjust it and then to get it to pull up. So right now it's pulling that up perfectly. It still needs to be still locked in there, and it shouldn't be, so I gotta maybe adjust that a little bit. So, but or actually that might even be normal. So I really like it. So far so good. So we'll see how it goes.